Welcome back to the Consciousness Cure Summit, everybody. This is Sandra Miller, your conscious personal mastery and transformational health coach. Today's guest is Brenda Lainof. Like many people, Brenda worked in the corporate world for decades. And then something happened that changed her life forever. At the time, she was struggling with numerous health issues, but then disaster struck. Brenda went into cardiac arrest, and she knew that she needed to make some changes in her life. And just like the situation we're all facing now, the message that comes from this is sometimes it takes a huge hit by the universe to really make us stand up and listen. Brenda emerged from the chaos, a stronger person emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And Brenda's going to share some of the wisdom of what she learned with us today. Brenda helps people all over the world with chronic health issues like fatigue or toxicity from breast implants, skin issues, depression, anxiety, and yes, pathogens. Brenda also has a special skill that she's going to share today that came to her quite by accident when she was younger, and I think that she didn't quite recognize until she got older that this was a gift. And that gift is called light language. And if you've never experienced light language before, we are going to allow you to experience that today. And I'm so pleased to be able to share Brenda with you today. So let's welcome Brenda Lainof. Hi, it's Sandra Miller again from the Consciousness Cure Summit. And today's guest, as I mentioned, is Brenda Lainof. Now, I explained what Brenda does, and now we're going to talk to her about how she actually got there. I like to think of Brenda as the pathogen whisperer, and I've known her from Facebook for a short period of time. So we're going to talk about all the skills that Brenda has put together in her business to help people raise consciousness, specifically with her work with the body code. So welcome, Brenda. Thank you so much for taking the time. I'm sure really everybody has nothing but almost today. But, you know, I really appreciate your coming on, and it's great speaking with you again.
Well, thank you, Sandra. And this really is a perfect time for people to be connecting with what's occurring within the world right now. I love it. This is how I do my work anyway. So to be honest, nothing too much has changed in my world, except, you know, I can't go shopping like I'd like to, but otherwise, this is what I do. I work remotely around the world, many countries in the world, and through Zoom and Facebook Messenger. And this is how I connect with people. And I love what I'm doing.
Yeah,
I love
that's
the work
awesome.
I'm doing.
Well, let me ask you if you resonate with this.
Okay.
So here's what I'm seeing. Okay, we're all out there socially more than ever today. I think we're breaking the internet. I've had several instances where I've had an issue trying to get online. So I really do think we're going to break the internet if this goes on for too much longer. But here's what I'm seeing, and tell me if you are seeing the same thing. What I feel like is happening is with social distancing, some people are individually distancing because they're under quarantine. And that's a very sad, scary, and lonely place to be because you don't even have a lot of interaction with the people that might be in your household. But even families, I think people are losing their sense of who they think they are when they're not out there in the world. And now they're faced with just themselves. And it's a frightening place to be. Some people don't even like the life that they're being distanced from right now. And so the work that you do can really help open up a person to exploring the issues of why they might feel like that. Because truthfully, we're never alone. We're always one. But it's that perception of isolation. So how would you perceive what's going on out there today?
I believe that what's happening today is ultimately for the best for the world. It may not feel like it. People are in a state of fear. I get that. I'm looking at this as an opportunity for us to go within, just as you mentioned, and to do some self-exploration. You know, so many people are so unhappy with their lives because there's so much distraction that's going on, the social media. You know, we're caught up on our iPhones. We're walking around in malls with our iPhones. And I'm one of them. Like, I'm constantly attached to my iPhone. This really does give us an opportunity to sort of stop and maybe think about, what are those things that are bothering me? Maybe that could be related to my health. Maybe that's why I'm not developing a healthy relationship. Feeling maybe attacked by other people and you don't know why. And there's a multi-layer, faceted areas that are contributing to how we feel today. And this is and learning to take charge, learning to find out what that is that's inside them. And we can do that. And we can learn what we're holding inside our body. And I teach that in my one-to-one calls through a process called muscle testing. I really love to see people empowered and to find out what is that emotion they're holding on to and why, and do some self-exploration and self-healing. I'm here to help the person self-heal. I don't do it. It's up to their relationship with themselves and with God. And that's the truth at the end of the day.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, I hear people say, I just feel so lonely. And, you know, and that makes me really sad because honestly, I think when somebody can overcome, now Dr. Thornton Streeter interview was just before you, and he's got a software that can actually see the emotions that get held in a person's energy field in the lower three chakras, you know, from guilt or shame or unworthiness or whatever it is. And I think what's happening right now is people don't have that outside distraction of their job or their coworkers, even if they don't like their coworkers. This is a habituation, a program that's running in their head, and they're stopping and they're looking in the mirror and they're actually afraid of what they see. I think they don't know who they are or what they want, or it's a frightening place to be. And I think that this is why. So the work that you do is so important right now, because you actually are tuning into the wisdom of the body. Is that right? And kind of saying, it's not me telling you what's wrong with you. It's your body. Your body's organizing intelligence is saying, hey, just like a boil on your arm says, oh, you might need to go to the doctor and check this out. There's a reason why you have this boil. Well, it's the same thing with diseases of the spirit, isn't it?
It is. And if we're disconnected from spirit, then it can cause a lot of problems. So I work with the body code. That's one of the many, many areas that I work with. I really enjoy working with it because I can share this information with the person on Zoom or Skype. This is really empowering, and it becomes a learning of about themselves and what the priority is. And if I could just share that with you, Sandra, if I can just. Well, this system was created by Dr. Bradley Nelson, who is quite well known at this point in time. He is the creator of the emotion code and then the body code system. His background is as a chiropractor, and I came across him, I know I was guided, probably about 11 years ago. And I thought, this is interesting. And one thing sort of led to another. So I don't know about you, but I've been to my chiropractor and I would look at the chart on the wall, and there could be certain emotions that are related to the spinal cord. So brilliantly, he put together this body code system, and it comprises of many parts, as I'll be showing here shortly. And then we get guided by a process called muscle testing. What is the priority for the person? Is it emotional? Is it physical? where do we need to go? So it's always connecting with Creator and asking the questions. We are the middle person. We're we're just here to help out, and we're the people that are doing the work. As in myself, we're very intuitive, extremely intuitive, and empaths. That's what, you know. This, we were born to do this, to help out. I really believe that it is crucial at this time in the world that now we can really step out. So again, this is a system where it's being created and through muscle testing, and you can learn to do this. I do this in the one-to-one sessions, teaching people how to do a sway test. Children can learn how to do a sway test. Your body going forward naturally for a yes and back for a no. I get you in the process where you're working with your body for a yes and a no. There's various ways to do that, and that's something that I go through within the one-to-one sessions.
Now, Brenda, what I'd love to do before we get into the actual body code information and Dr. Bradley's work, can you share a little bit about your story? Because here's something I find, and I think it's just so beneficial to know that there's validation for people that will say, oh, well, you know, so-and-so has a special gift. And when we say intuition, a lot of people don't trust their own intuition. They have emotions from past experiences that, you know, that little program is running around in their head, and they don't believe and trust themselves. And when we say intuition and guidance, they're one and the same. Guidance is just the same as intuition. It's just that some people learn to trust theirs more. You had a really sticky situation with your health recently, and I'd love for you to talk about that for a minute, because I do want people to know that there is hope for certain conditions of the mind and of the body. And then I think your presentation on this work will make much more sense. That would be so great.
I'll start approximately about 9 years ago. I went in to have a procedure, a day procedure, to see if my right ovary was cancerous. And I had a bad gut feeling that morning when my husband dropped me off for the quote day surgery. It was really bad. My intuition was screaming out to me, and I was just discounting the fact that I should be, you know, just not doing this procedure. But I was screaming out. As soon as I went under, I went into a cardiac arrest. When I woke up, the nurse said, "Do you know what happened?" And I was like, "No. You've had a cardiac arrest. We're sending you to the cardiac unit." So I'm just like, I don't understand. I came in for day surgery to see if my right cancer was, or my right ovary was cancerous based on my family history. And now I'm being told I had a cardiac arrest. I couldn't compute this. So I'm in shock. At 3 in the morning, and there's something about 3 in the morning because I had a big clock in front of me, this lady is standing beside me. And I have to tell you, Sandra, I've told this story so many times, but I swear she was an angel. And it was like, this wasn't supposed to, it was, you know, she was telling me, she was just comforting, it wasn't supposed to happen. That, they were so good with me that night in the hospital, but the next day, it's like somebody turned off a switch, and it was like they were putting it on me. I created the cardiac arrest. They wanted to get me out of the hospital. They said, "Brenda, you said you were on hormone replacement." They were looking for anything because they were scared of a liability. No information's really in the charts because, well, I should say, I wasn't given any information because this was something they just wanted to keep separately. They wanted it to go away. So it was always in the back of my head. I had a real distrust of the medical system, and I thought they had my back. And I didn't realize in Canada where I lived that you could even sue the medical community, which I was encouraged to do by a few professional people, but I wasn't going to go through that.
So the surgery caused the cardiac arrest. This was
the surgery initiated the cardiac arrest. I didn't know at that time that there was a tumor growing on my adrenal gland. I believe at that time that tumor had already reached a high level mass. And that is what created the cardiac arrest. So we're coming back to this time a year ago, 2019. So in between that period of time of the cardiac arrest and last year, I've been working with the body code, many modalities, and really working through my frustration as to the medical system, and really feeling let down because I was basically told just to go home, and with about 7 drugs. And of course, I'm going, no, I'm not going to go on this. And I'm glad that I didn't, because I don't know if I would be here today. So today, I am working with a lot of different modalities based on what happened to me a year ago at this time. Last year, I was guided to take my dog to a dog park, very, very icy. I had kicked the ball. 2 dogs came from behind me. I flew up in the air. I landed on my right side. I shattered my right elbow. I broke my right hip in that one fall. Taken to the hospital, had to wait 2 days before they could get the right surgeon. I'm letting them know about the cardiac arrest I had and said, you know, you better get the records from that other hospital because I had a cardiac arrest and they sent me home. So they're like, okay. They thought they had all the precautions. I was up under for the surgery that was ended up being for about 5 hours. They just about lost me. My blood pressure went beyond. They were just shocked. They just thought, what's going on? I just about died in that surgery. What they uncovered through further testing, because they thought something else is going on, I had a tumor the size of a mandarin orange, it was described to me, enmeshed in my little left adrenal gland. It was totally encased with this tumor called pheochromatosis. They only find this typically in autopsies.
And an adrenal gland is only about the size of a walnut.
They said, you got to go for surgery and get this removed. I was a walking time bomb. I was a walking time bomb because I knew if I didn't have that surgery, I could just die at any moment. My whole adrenal system was just crazy on fire. So it was a month later, I had to go for another surgery. In that month, in between the 2 surgeries, I just thought, you know, I'd better think about my life, contemplate it. Do I want to get cremated? What do I want? Who really is there with me in those moments of such darkness? Who is really in my life? And it came very clear to me who I could really count on. Such clarity. And then I was guided to, it's called light language. Now, many of you may not know what that is. It's really connecting with source, God, creator, however you want to refer to it, at a soul level. And I thought, you know, these sounds would come out many years prior. I really didn't know what it was about. I knew I was downloading language, which was very native sounding, which was interesting because I was backing onto a huge reserve. Mm-hmm. And I just thought, this is pretty cool, but I didn't know who to talk to about it. And it wasn't until I was in a conference in Phoenix, Arizona, that I realized I was downloading light language. So last year at this time, I thought, I'm going to go for it because I could die. I don't know what's going to happen in this next surgery. They nearly lost me in the previous one. Thank goodness for a fantastic anesthesiologist. So I just thought, I'm going to go for it. And I thought, okay, I'm going to download some light language. And these sounds that came out were incredible. And it was very motherly sounds. It was like, Brenda, I could feel it, like, Brenda, just relax. Just quit being so stressed out. It was just like trying to keep me in a good space. And I have to tell you, and this, I know it sounds bizarre, but I just felt so much calmer afterwards. It was like this mother was talking to me and just calming me down because I was so stressed. I didn't know what was going to happen. So I did have that surgery, and that's where, again, they found that massive tumor, and then they found another tumor within the tumor. How does that? So I'm did the genetic testing. They're following me. Statistically, I was told it's 1 in a million people that they find this. They don't have a lot of genetic testing on it. And I know, and I can just say this, it's been a long story here, but at the end of the day, I'm alive and I'm here to do what I'm doing. And I'm so grateful for that. And I just stepped out. So for anyone who's concerned about, oh, I don't know if I should, share this or my gifts or whatever, just do it, because there is absolutely no guarantee you're going to make it tomorrow. And that's the absolute truth. I truly believe my dog, my border collie Jet, was guided to take me to that park that day. I was to have that accident. If it wasn't for the accident and where they just about lost me in that first surgery, they would have never uncovered this.
It was like a rebirth by fire. And
absolutely.
That's been my message, Brenda. And I think when I say to people, use this time for rebirth, like a phoenix out of the flames, you could come out on the other side a better person if you choose to be conscious enough to do the work rather than watching TV or getting angry that the government isn't doing enough, or instead of bathing in those negative emotions, if we be in stillness, this could be the rebirth. Just like in the universe, all order is born of chaos. I mean, look at the Big Bang Theory. The Big Bang, one little pea-sized particle broke up and became the universe. And interestingly enough, scientists will tell you, if you brought all of the particles in the universe back together, they would fit in the size of a pea. Wow. So we are all super connected. So you're not alone out there. You are connected, kind of like in a matrix of everybody in the world, but you're not going to find it on TV, right? You're not going to find it on social media. You're going to find it by stillness and asking and listening to your body. And that's a perfect lead in to your body code work.
In a session, the reason I mentioned the body code, because it's such a great modality to attract people to, created by a doctor. And it gives such credibility because, well, it works, number one, it just works. And the body code is broken up in several areas. You have your energies, circuits and systems, toxins, pathogens, misalignments, nutrition and lifestyle. Now, those are very, very basic areas, but then there's layers and layers and layers behind each one. This is the whole energies. And it's hard to get into anything right now. One thing I'm going to mention, extremely important, and this is where I get the person working with me, is the emotion code chart. This is awesome, you guys, for anyone who's looking at, well, I like to do something and I like to learn what Brenda's talking about. I would say I'm going to have you work with the emotion code chart. You're going to learn to muscle test, am I holding a trapped depression in my left neck that's causing the pain? Maybe it was an entity, but maybe there's a lower vibrational trapped emotion, depression in my left neck. Once we go through a process and clear the energy, all these lower vibrational energies that are held in the organs and glands, muscles and tissues and blood throughout the entire body, once we identify what that is and clear it, many times physical issues just totally dissipate.
Yeah. I really am glad that you're bringing this up, because if when I usually speak to emotional issues, always present in the physical. And somebody will say, well, you know, how does the pain in my right knee relate to my emotions? They see that as absolutely preposterous. But this work that has been validated by a doctor is finding the same thing. So if you look at all the layers of the things we're going to be bringing to people throughout the summit, not just with body code, but with everything, you want to start looking at how your body is feeling. Recognize it, write it down. Something's going on there that's beyond physical that maybe you're not quite aware of. Brenda can help with that.
Absolutely, because our body consists, and I know many people are aware of this, but we're only operating on about 10% on a conscious level. So everything that's happened in our life in this time on earth, perhaps in the first, second, third trimester of your mother's womb, perhaps it's preconception, whatever you view that is, preconception, maybe it's a miasm, which is huge. These are coming up big time right now for us to help our ancestors. Maybe it's a miasm that's come in that we need to clear. Then we look at that.
So what's your simple explanation of a miasm for someone maybe that doesn't understand that particular term?
Something that's inherited, that you could have a miasm, say, of syphilis, that has occurred throughout your ancestors, say, went back 5 generations ago. I'm throwing this out because it's actually more common than what we realize. Perhaps it's a miasm of syphilis, but it's an energetic imprint that's carried in through generations. So we're holding on to this energetic imprint of syphilis. Now, I'm just going to throw something out. So we have this energetic imprint of syphilis. That may be, and I'm throwing out an example, could be related to some viral infection that we have.
So it's not exactly syphilis, is that what you're saying?
It may not be it could be the miasm of syphilis, but perhaps that miasm then is also contributing to something that we really have, like or as a virus, for example.
So that word would be akin to like predisposition, but doesn't.
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
A predisposition. Thank you. That's a perfect description. Okay. So also within the work that I do, I've been trained to test over the top 350 pathogens. So it's not within this, but within the other work that I have. And say if there's a Coxsackie A5 that comes up, because you're getting this flu-like conditions and stuffy nose, and maybe as an example, that's coming up, then we go through a process. I go through this technique of clearing it out.
Okay.
And it is cleared out energetically. And now, many times through the pathogens, I would say 99% of the time, there's an emotion attached. There could be trauma attached. So I'm going, well, what is the trauma that maybe is related to the syphilis? Well, if we've uncovered that back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 generations, there was a trauma of maybe of some sexual abuse that is somehow that's created to the energetic imprint of this syphilis, this predisposition, perhaps that's carried through time that's now related to some virus. So there's many, many, many layers. I really, truly believe for me, there's an emotion and typically trauma that's related to these pathogens that we hold on to. And in the pathogenic work, I find they come in layers. So it could be, oh, I'm detecting some type of a bacteria. Now here, it only shows really bacteria, but perhaps this bacteria, I then go find out, well, what is related to that? Why is there this bacteria? Always asking questions, always asking questions. So it's layer by layer by layer. And sometimes this bacteria could be underneath the virus, but it doesn't show up because You dealt with this viral, and then the bacteria says, well, what about me? So I've had years and years of working with this body code system. And now I'm adding light language. I'm asking help from Creator to help deal with the virus, the physical issue that could be creating pain in the body. So if there is some type of chemical, say environmental, and we find out, oh my gosh, there's some herbicide toxicity in the body, many times I break out into transmission of light language to help amplify, clear out whatever herbicide toxicities in the body. And the reason I can tell is because I'm muscle testing what percentage of herbicides are within the body that are causing problems. 1, 2, 2%. Go through the process, and if light language, if I'm being guided to that, then I transmit light language. We go through that, and many times that really helps clear it out. So it's a combination of many things, and honestly, we don't need to worry about it. When you come to me, I'll just say, you know, what's going on for you? Oh, you know, I've just been, you know, my boss just let me go. I just had to go home. I can't even work in the office anymore. Oh, okay. Let's go see if you have some trapped emotions. Yes, I do. Then I will help you start working with this emotion code chart that I mentioned before. I can look at all the other areas that I'm trained in. We want you strong so that you're working with this and you can go, oh my gosh, I'm carrying a trapped humiliation. I never even knew that. And I'm just going to go and clear that from my body. So I'm going to help you work with this emotion code chart. And I was thinking, Sandra, would be really good to transmit heart wall transmission for everyone that is dealing with difficult times right now.
Not that I want to make people feel guilty for attracting sickness to themselves, but are you able to pinpoint some of the emotions that people typically have that are resonating right now with what's going on, or any other viral illness that might be happening out there, you know?
Absolutely. And, you know, we're getting fed, as we all know, by the news every day, every minute of the day. It's ridiculous.
So people are kind of attracting.
Well, you're attracting. And I also want people to know what you're attracting or what you're feeling may not just be yours. It could be you're connecting to the consciousness, the mass consciousness, because there's so much fear out there. And if you are an empath of any type, shape, or form, firstly, you wouldn't even be listening to Sandra's her Talis Summit. You know, you wouldn't be attracted to this if you were not some type of an empath. So just knowing that we can be connecting, and I'm telling you, most of the stuff that we're holding in our body has absolutely nothing to do with you. It could be that you've attracted, that you're picking up on the collective level. I know for myself, and it's strong right now. Mm-hmm. Like the fear is massive right now. So if you're feeling crappy, it could be you're picking up on the conflict, you're picking up on the confusion, you're picking up on the anxiety and despair. Mm-hmm. So the more you learn, just like, okay, I'm going to look at this emotion code that Brenda was talking about on Sandra's show and see if I could start working with it for myself. That is significantly huge, because that will then, you're going to raise your vibration. Right. When you raise your vibration, you're less apt to attract any viruses. So the higher your vibration is, the less you're going to be aware and even talking about the virus, because, you know, you're feeling pretty good. you're not so down and out. I actually feel really quite good. And yes, I know that I can
right now.
I can go in the room next door and the TV's on, my husband's watching it. But there's just so much that we can do for ourselves. And it's so crucial to be within the right community, track right to the right people so that you keep your vibration up. Listen to the seminar series of Sandra. Listen to the speakers. Get in touch. Learn how you can energetically test. Do I have a trapped emotion of shame? Oh, I do. I didn't realize it. And then I'll learn and I'll teach you how you can learn how to find that in your body. So we're going to be working with the heart wall. Now, right now, because again of all this going on, we're feeling pretty vulnerable. And we can put a wall around our heart like, oh, I'm not going to let anybody get through to me. I've been hurt. I'm isolated. I'm told I have to go home. I can't even go to the office. I can't be close to my family members. And you put a wall around your heart like, I don't want to be hurt anymore. I'm going to help you with light language to bring down that wall, because when the wall is down, we're more open to receiving the goodness of life because it's right there. So I'm going to be transmitting light language to you. And I'm always asking for protection for any time that I do any work. I'm always asking for assistance from Creator, from Source, to come in at this time and to help us that are holding all that fear and anger and terror in our heart, just to drop it, to dissolve it, and to guide us in this transmission from Source. So we're giving our gratitude right now for Source to come through. Already starting to feel some energies moving in my head region. You may see me moving with my hands, and I'll, for the most part, keep my eyes open. They may be closed. So just waiting for a Source to come through. Asala kasepanaya she shekanaya hoya hana seya. Haya hoya hoya se. Hala kohosha kasaya bononya se. Like I umbonya se kaya taya taonyo. Alakasea heyo shika. Ashika sakapadana kachika takaseka leka shukuto. Naya seka shukataka se lakatai. Oyoko she naya naya koya. Oh boy, sikataya. Ay sapuni lakatishite. Oh yasi palakatai. Oh nakahe yakata. Hey dakata. Hey adai adai. Hi, shikata kotak shikati kate shakata kat shikata kotak shikati kate shakata hi shikata shikati blue kashakana kane shikata kashikuta kotak shikatu he sakanai sakana kushu shikate alai shikati kushu shikati patite shikata chuk shikata 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 kushu shakai Ay, Diana Yeshukote. Ay, Nakashokota Yese. Oh, sure, Shikade, oh, Shikade. Oh, no, Shikade, Hayano. Ah, like a Shikat Pisha. No, say, Katai Shikade. No, Shikade say, like a day. Ay, Shika Shokotok say. Ay, a day, oh, sure, yeah. Ah, like a nice say. Alakanaya say oyaka shikatokoto shikatoka ayana so hyohei atai ayakanoshe ushi ayai oshi ayai sokoto yanai ayai nai ai nai 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 yai nai 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 shikotoko sekateka tekashu luka shikateka sekataya fu nai nai hu nai nai kashika se laika sekataya mai nai okay ai shok shikatea saya oshaya oshaya say shush 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 So everybody take in a deep breath. And just release. And just roll your shoulders around, just nice and relaxed. You may just notice some release in the neck region. And just knowing the source is working with you. And every time you come back to this little segment, that you can download this, and this transmission will be continue to work at a further layer within the heart region. So you may notice that you're more open and not holding so many emotions within the heart wall, because the emotions are trapped in around the heart. They do create a wall. So every time we're doing these light language transmissions and you're working on releasing your own heart wall emotions, then you are more open to receiving all the goodness in life that you deserve. We deserve that right now.
All creation starts with light and sound. So that's how the universe was created. And then there was the word, and then there was light. And so, you know, this does to me sound very primitive. But Brenda, let me ask you this. When you're performing the light language, as it's moving through you, do you get an interpretation of what is actually being conveyed? Or do you not?
I receive a sense of what's being conveyed. And what comes through, it could be there's several entities of the light, I'm going to say of the light, that are coming through and they want to speak. So you may notice some different sounds, and this has happened for me, and it happens most of my light language transmissions. It's just like, I want to speak, or I want to speak, because they want to help us out. And so it's a sense, you know, it was a sense when I had that really harsh, getting me kind of hack, you know, a year ago before I went into my next surgery. And it was like, wow, it was very strong. But for the most part, it's definitely just a definite sense of a feel of what's being relayed. I felt within this one that it was this looking down on earth. I felt that there was this and I'm just going to say entity of the light, because I don't know for, you know, I mean, I'm not testing, okay, who's this coming from?
Right.
Where's it coming from? But looking down on earth and just giving this sense of calmness and sending peacefulness. And
I felt that as well, just, you know,
just
relax.
this feeling.
Yeah, be afraid. That's sort of the
letting go, and just, you know, taking a deep breath. So it's that kind of thing that I sense. I don't have word-to-word interpretation.
Okay.
I just wanted to mention that, and I haven't mentioned it so far, but I do dowse. So I can also, this is like a measurement. It's not that the dowsing is a magic, but I'm dowsing many times in my light language. And I work with a lot of practitioner healers. And so, you know, we've been working together, and we're saying, okay, what's the percentage of, for example, if there is a Coxsackie in the body. Now I'm skipping over to that just to give a sense. 1, 2, 3, okay, is it about 5%? Yes. So we're typically coming up with the same percentages. So there's a measurement, and this is what I love about it. It's like there's a measurement, like, okay, what percentage is remaining? Oh, 0, as an example. So there's so many ways that you can work with light language to add it to the body code, to add it to pathogens. There's just so many ways, and how it amplifies whatever needs to be healed, whatever needs to be cleared and transmuted. Well, I'm going to be, for the listeners, if they contact me, excuse me, at my email address, at Lainof, Brenda49@gmail.com. So that's LAINOF, the number 4, the number 9, sandra@gmail.com, and just say, hey, I was listening to Sandra's teleseminar, and I would like that gift that you promised. So I'm going to be sending you are 3 audios. And these audios are going to just help you with all the issues that are occurring right now, just as like calmness. Perhaps they'll be giving you a sense of building up your immune system. There's a variety of little audios, and there's some, and I to be honest, I'm going to give you what I'm intuiting at the time would be best for you, because I have a whole library, so not one size fits all. So that's what I'm going to do. So for everyone, I'm going to intuit what would be the best for you.
Now you have a beta testing group going on.
Yes.
What's the details of that?
Oh, I'm so excited about this. So it's completed as of yesterday. So I was guided by Source, and honestly, it just happened like about 2.5 weeks ago, to download light language to assist an abundant business. So I worked corporately over 30 years. That's a long time. And then within that time, I had my health issues that led me to the different modalities. And I thought, well, what about those 30 years working corporate? Like, I've lived internationally, South America, Kazakhstan. I've got a lot of life experience. How does this work? And I thought, you know what? I'm going to create 21 days light language abundant business. So I have many people that I connect with. And of course, oh, sure, I'll be your beta tester. So every day for 21 days, there is an affirmation, and I downloaded light language to assist amplify that affirmation. So we all know about affirmations. Every day I'm going to attract the right client, or, whatever that is. But when you download, or when you add that transmission from Source, who's going to really help you download this to this matter to energy, energy to matter, your cells, it just, it's creating changes. And I've got so many testimonials. I'm going, oh my gosh, this is so cool. So I'm very excited about it. That will be a program that will be introduced to the public here soon. So I am very excited about it, because we're all worried, and we can all get stuck, and we can all get these, trapped emotions, as you see here, of humiliation from being let go or whatever. So it's just a way for us to meet, and then just transmitting this light language every single day. So every day for 21 days, you receive an audio, you listen to it, you listen to it, you listen to it. Because it could be, then you can measure from 0 to 10. Okay, I'm at 2 for believing I can be successful in my business. Well, that's not good enough. We want you to get you to 10 to believing you can be successful in your business. So it's just like, okay, here's the light language to go with it. I believe I can be successful in my business. You listen to it, you listen to it, you listen to it. Every time you listen, it just reaches further and further and further in that furthest matter to energy, energy to matter layer. And then people are going, yeah, it took me maybe 3 times, but I'm there. I'm at 10. And it's something you can refer to over and over again. It could be you said, I feel like I need to go look at, the 5th audio of the light language for abundant business. I need to listen to that. So all the time you're listening, people are going, I didn't think anything occurred, but I find that I've developed a new deck of cards, for example, or my business is picking up. Like they're realizing, they're connecting the dots that things have shifted. So I'm really pleased to be able to help people get, moving and start using our creativity. It's there. And
Yeah.
it's up to us to step into it, let go of those lower vibrational energies as much as possible. Disconnect from that massive consciousness that's pulling you down energetically where you feel crappy. Learn to do the, you're learning to release the trapped emotions, and then get creative. Start attracting that business online. Do the Zoom calls, but that's where I work with people on the business side, because I really want to help you get through the blocks that you think, well, I can't do that. Who am I? Who am I to be successful and make money? Well, why not?
And so many people want to change careers. They hate the job they're going to go back to when this self-imposed
It is.
quarantine is over. And so that's something to start thinking about. So Brenda, to wrap us up, if you had one tip for someone to begin to raise their consciousness today, what would that be?
The one tip I would have is step away from the TV, number one, because you're continually getting bombarded. They're putting fear into you big time, a lot of fear. And if you can get outside or on your balcony, just get into nature it's going to help really lift up your spirits. And that 5 minutes of stepping out into your balcony, if you can't get outside of your building, or putting your feet into the earth, get some good earthing, that's going to really help you big time. And it could be different times of the day. Maybe you need to do it 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 times a day, just to help keep your vibration high. That is the biggest, simplest way of raising your vibration, so you're not so connected to the heaviness that's in that collective right now.
Mm-hmm. Great tip. One of my favorites. And I'm going to add to that before we wrap up. If for some reason you can't get outside of your building, you can grab a stainless steel spoon, rub that along the bottom of your feet. It's called grounding with a spoon. I've spoken many times on little Facebook Lives, but I'm going to have a cheat sheet to help you raise consciousness as well with this summit. So you'll find that in some of the reference materials. But the reason why that works is because a stainless steel spoon is magnetic. So you're drawing the electron energy from the atmosphere and bringing it through your body. And like Brenda said, it's all about flow. So simple. Now, how do you know that the spoon is stainless steel? If you've got a magnet, it will stick. So that's just a
exactly.
Yeah.
And I do want to mention that in the emotion code work, we do work with magnets. So I'm going to say, grab your kitchen magnet that's on the fridge, because exactly what you said, we're going to take this and we're going to pull out all of those lower vibrational energies. So we are working with energy. We're working with the healing properties of the earth.
Absolutely. Well, this has been another segment of the Consciousness Cure, and we want to thank you for joining us today. And Brenda, I want to thank you so much for being here today. It's been such a pleasure, and we'll see you on the next summit.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you on the next interview.
Bye.
Bye. Okay.